This is Sunday Focus, a weekly public affairs program that looks at the topics affecting our society and the people who are making a change in the community each and every day. The people who have vision for the next generation. Sunday Focus presents new challenges for us, keeping you informed with topics of local and regional interest. Now the host of Sunday Focus, Christine Manica.
Welcome back to Sunday Focus. I'm being joined by Allison Sinning. She is the Youth Development Manager and Girls on the Run Counselor Director for EmBe here in the Sioux Empire. Hi, Allison.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Thanks for coming to the studio today.
Thanks for having me today.
Before we get started, for anyone who isn't familiar with EmBe, tell us a little bit about your organization.
So EmBe is an organization whose mission is to empower women and families across the Sioux Empire, here in Sioux Falls and across the state.
Yeah, how many people, and I know we talked about this, it's a broad number, on average would you say the number of people that benefit from an organization like EmBe?
Mm-hmm. So we have a significant presence in our community. Mm-hmm. So for example, in our youth development department, we have our Girls on Run season just started, and we're impacting around 600 girls across the state this spring. And then, of course, we have a very large childcare center that impacts, hundreds of families within our city. And then Many people don't know that Dress for Success is an EmBe program, and so we have hundreds of women that come through for career counseling and to help with finding jobs and to find support for professional development.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't even know this, but there's 4 pillars for EmBe. Can you run down those 4 pillars for us?
Sure. The 4 pillars are, we have the EmBe Educational Center, which is focused on our childcare. We have women's programming, so that includes Dress for Success and our women's leadership program. And then Dress for Success also has a whole bunch of other exciting programs to help women from financial literacy to helping with professional and personal goals. There's a lot going on with our women's programming department. Then we also have youth development, which is our Girls on the Run program. We also run summer camps and First Lego League. And then our new pillar is family services, and that's where our aquatics department is kind of housed at the moment.
You say new pillar. Was it just added recently, or what came about with that?
So, our mission is to empower women and families. And of course, we know a lot of what we do with our families is offer childcare services to families in our community. But we're looking to expand what other kind of programs we can also offer our families within our community. So for now, we are focused on our aquatics department, which we do swimming lessons. We have our pool has been downtown for many, many, many years. Lots of good memories there. But we're also looking to see how else we can serve families in our community in the future.
Let's talk about the programs. You already hinted at Dress for Success, and I know Girls on the Run. We'll get into that more a little bit later, but let's really dive into Dress for Success and other programs that EmBe offers.
Sure. So at Dress for Success, most people know Dress for Success as the clothes, right? Yeah. You can go and donate your clothes and help women, feel confident when they go to interviews with the proper clothing and outfits. But it's just so much more than that. So it's, we help women do career counseling. So figuring out what their goals are professionally. We help with resume building, interview prep. And then there's also a ton of other great programs that they can go and meet with groups of their peers and talk about, what are their, once they get the job, what are their next steps? What are their next goals? We have done computer classes and financial literacy classes and just training so that they feel confident when they get to that new job and that next step in their career.
What do you think your favorite program is? Not that this is going to be a biased question. I already know this, but what do you think your favorite program is?
Well, I came to EmBe as the program coordinator for Girls on the Run. So that has always hold a very special place in my heart. But I want to get more involved. I work with the kid. I work with that third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, middle school group of kids in our community. And so I'm really looking forward to this year is getting more involved with Dress for Success and our women's programming, because it's something that I don't professionally get involved in that much, being part of the organization, because I'm just in a different department. So Girls on the Run is, well, again, always a special place in my heart, but I think Dress for Success is something I want to get more involved in personally. So,
this is a good transition for a little get to know you session. I want to know how you found your way to EmBe.
Sure. So I grew up around the Sioux Falls area, but I lived abroad for many, many years and had worked in West Africa with girls and women for about 5 years. And it was just kind of time to come home and spend time with my family and come back to my home community. And I was looking for an outlet and an opportunity to continue to empower women and girls. So instantly found EmBe, and they happened to have the right job opening at the time. I just knew that EmBe was like the leading organization to empower women and families and girls. And so this is how I ended up at EmBe.
Is that what really drew you, just what they stand for and the mission of EmBe?
Definitely. Yes. Yep.
Any success stories that you can share about people who have benefited from this organization? Maybe it's someone from Girls on the Run, and whether it's a coach that was helping out one of the girls, or the girls saying, oh my gosh, I can do this, anything like that.
Yeah, so that's what I love about my job, is I get to hear all these amazing stories from our Girls on the Run coaches, from parents, about the impact that the program had on their girls. I just recently, a couple weeks ago, was at a coach training, and one of my new coaches was like, I always ask them, why did you come to Girls on the Run? Why do you want to volunteer with this program? And she said she wasn't a parent herself, but she's like, I don't know if it was her niece or her friend's daughter had done the program. And before she started Girls on the Run, she had, issues with her body image. She was a little bigger girl, and she was really self-conscious about herself. And she said that she's like, Girls on the Run completely transformed her relationship, not only with herself and like empowering who she really is, but also her relationship to physical activity. So she's like, that girl, my niece, that friend of hers daughter, is a completely different person after having went through the 10 weeks of thinking about what her star power is and what makes her uniquely her. And that, having people to support her for, in her physical activity goals of running that 5K and running those laps. And now she's a girl that's like confident and excited, and just, though it's those stories that always make my job, like, I feel like I have the coolest job in the world.
Would you say that's one of your favorite memories, along with maybe a couple of other memories that you like to share?
Oh, I mean, the 5K is always a big deal. Every year, I mean, we do, in Sioux Falls, we do 2 5Ks a year, one in the spring and the fall at the end of our Girls on the Run seasons. And so seeing those girls like cross the finish line, and for some of them, it's a really big deal, and it's a really challenging thing to do. I mean, I've had girls that like have crossed the finish line like, oh my gosh, that was so hard, but I'm so proud. I'm so proud of myself for doing it. So 5K day is always like my favorite day of the year, always.
If you are just listening, Allison Sinning, she is the Youth Development Manager and the Girls on the Run Counselor Director for EmBe here in the Sioux Empire. Now, I believe you guys just celebrated your 100th anniversary, and that's a huge accomplishment. So can you tell us about, the women and the families that were facing that type of turmoil in 1921, when they didn't really have any rights, or they really couldn't speak out for themselves?
Yeah, reflecting on the 100 years of EmBe has been really interesting. So I think back to, 1921 was a real revolutionary time for women. I mean, the Voting Rights Act was just ratified within the Constitution in 1920. So it was really a time where, women were kind of finally seeing their potential in our community, and that they have the power to, make change for themselves, for their families, and for the future. And so I think, rolling into the next 100 years, we are also at this really interesting time in our society of, the pandemic has been really challenging for families and for women. It's redefined, what we think of as work as well, in terms of like, lots of people working from home, schools were closed, childcare facilities were, it was just a really challenging time with the pandemic. So I think, moving into the next 100 years, I mean, EmBe is really poised to continue to support women for the next steps, I think. So
absolutely.
If that made sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Do you have, let's say you're a director, that you're the director of EmBe, the CEO in the next couple of years. Let's just put you in that mindset. Okay. What would you say your vision would be for the next century for EmBe? What do you envision it being?
That's a really heavy question.
I know. It's the toughest one, I think.
It definitely is. I mean, I think our overall goal is always to empower women to support each other, to see their true potential, and then to really bring up that next generation of girls to be leaders. And so I know we just have a lot of really exciting programming coming, down the pike in the future. And we're really evaluating how we can make impacts in our community. So I think we'll continue to obviously do some of the things that we're doing, because they're still, after 100 years, they're still needed. And so, I mean, I hope in the next 100 years, like when we get 100 years later, that some of the things that we have to offer, because, these are the challenges of women and families in our community, we won't have to do them anymore, because things have changed.
Here's one of the programs that I alluded to that we were talking about. Now we're going to talk about it. The Girls on the Run program. Now, story time for everybody. I was a first-time coach this year for Girls on the Run, and actually one of my friends told me about it. She's like, this looks fun, we should do it, and you and I are both runners. And I just said, okay, yeah, like, let's give this a try and see. And you know what, we loved it. We loved coaching those girls, and we loved our little fall session there. And I know around 200 coaches to volunteer at least are needed throughout the state. I know that the session is just getting underway for the spring, but let's talk about what it takes to be a coach for Girls on the Run and just that program in general.
Sure, yeah. So, that is the real power of Girls on the Run is the combination of our, research-based curriculum and the one-on-one mentoring from our coaches for the girls. So that really makes the program really powerful for our participants. And so I think there's always two questions I get about coaching. One, do I have to be a runner? Two, do I have to make it up? So that's no to both of those questions. We have our coaches some of them are hardcore runners, amazing, powerful athletes. Others are those who just are really passionate about empowering girls to be their best selves. So we get community members we have community members, we have teachers, we have parents, we have all sorts of really unique group of women that come together, and men. We also I've had dads, I've had a grandpa that has come to coach Girls on the Run as well. So we're just looking for adults who want to inspire and motivate and, help support girls in their Girls on the Run journey. And then we have the curriculum that's all put together for you to be successful. So
I will admit, when I first was starting out as a coach, I'm thinking, yes, I'm going to get them to run laps. I'm going to get them to do drills. But no, it's completely not that at all. There is running involved, and there is some sort of a training aspect when it comes to running that 5K at the end of the 10 weeks. But it's a lot more than that. It really is about empowering these young girls and showing them, yes, I am awesome.
Yes. And so it's the power of that, like, it's the combination of that, like, we talk about, confidence building and teamwork and how to be a great friend and how to resolve conflicts with friends. And it's that social emotional learning things that the girls are going through that are really powerful, and then connecting them with fun games and running and, physical activity to help, really drive home that topic for them. I mean, they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So if you don't make it fun, they're not going to absorb it. So we want them to have fun, be physically active, but also gain those skills to be confident and to solve problems in their lives.
So what does it take to be a coach for Girls on the Run?
The commitment is once a week. So the girls meet twice a week for 10 weeks. So we just kicked off our spring season that will last from the last March, April, and May across the state. But we will have another season in the fall, which will be September, October, November. So the girls, like I said, the girls meet twice a week, but we ask our coaches to commit to one practice a week so they can make connections with the girls and get to know them, and the girls can get to know them as a coach, and they can just form great relationships.
So what kind of lessons are we talking about here? We talked about, self-body image. We talked about confidence. Is that all kind of intertwined with all these lessons? Like, I think I'm trying to remember some lessons in my head, actually.
Yeah.
About, teamwork. I think teamwork was one of those lessons that was discussed for Girls on the Run.
Yeah. So our curriculum is broken into 3 different sections. So the first, 7 lessons or so, or first couple of weeks, we'll talk about self-confidence. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about, positive self-talk. We'll look at emotions and recognizing emotions that we experience and then how we react to them. How do we react to different emotions? We'll also talk about empathy as well. During that time. And then the middle part of our season is focused on relationships with their peers. So friendships with, friendships, how they resolve conflicts with friends, why our words matter. And so, it's that thing that we know when the words that we say, we can't take them back. We can't put them back into our mouths. Mm-hmm. And so how our words matter and have consequences. They can even, build people up or tear them down. We also talk a lot about, I said empathy. We talk about empathy. Mm-hmm. And then we do some conflict resolution. So giving girls actual tools that they can use when there is a conflict when they, with their friends or with their peers, and how they can work through that independently, which is really important. And then at the last part of the season, we celebrate them. We celebrate all their great accomplishments and their strengths by doing a community service project. And also they run a practice 5K so they can get a little idea of what 3.1 miles is before they get to the end of the season race.
And It's not easy when you're in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. That's for sure.
No, I mean, we all remember,
Yes.
Our PE teacher saying we're going to run the mile in PE, and they're like, what? But these girls run 3.1 miles, and we help them throughout the season build up to that amount of running. And also we say, it's okay if you have to walk a little bit. I mean, it's your pace, your race. So, the girls can walk, skip, jump, hop, whatever they feel comfortable doing as long as they're moving forward. So
why should anyone be a coach for Girls on the Run? What would be your message to anyone that's thinking, hey, maybe this is something for me? Mm-hmm.
I hear all the time from my coaches how they have gained just as much from their program as they think the girls have. So, while the lessons are, geared towards 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade girls, I think the topics are really good reminders to us as adults as well about, having our own self-confidence, having our own, I have to fully admit that I struggle with negative self-talk. And so when we get to that positive self-talk lesson, it's such great reminders of things that, we can work on in our lives as adults as well. And you learn so much from the girls, just from the things, their perspectives and their opinions. It's just a really fun way to get involved in your community and get involved with kids, especially if you're not a teacher, you're not somebody who works with kids often. Come join us.
Absolutely. If you are just listening, I'm being joined by Allison Sinning. She is the Youth Development Manager and the Girls on the Run Counselor Director for EmBe. Now, what are some other volunteer opportunities that EmBe has to offer?
So there's tons of ways to get involved in our organization. For Dress for Success, we're always looking for career coaches. So those are women who will come in and talk through, professional goals and, what women who are seeking work are looking for in a job. And so those coaches will do, help with build their resume, help with interview practice, and job applications. We're also looking for volunteers to come help with our suitings. So that's when we're helping women find that, that outfit to go to the interview, and also the clothes that they may need when they get that job. We also have a program called First Lego League, and this is another EmBe program that I think a lot of people don't know about. So this is housed within our youth development department as well as, like Girls on the Run. Mm-hmm. So what it is all about is the kids are going to get together as teams, and they're going to program a Lego robot to run on these missions. So they learn how to program this robot and build this robot, but they also will get a challenge. So every year there's a new challenge. And so this year, next academic year in 2023, 2022, 2023 is going to be renewable energy. So kids will be looking to solve real world problems around renewable energy. So they'll put together a project and think through and do the research on that project and think about, what they want to do. Like how could they solve an issue or a challenge within the idea of, or within the theme of renewable energy. And then they also will do a presentation on, teamwork and the core values of First Lego League. And then teams to get together. It'll be next March, and they'll compete against other teams. And so they'll get to meet other kids that are also, learning how to program these robots and thinking through these different challenges around renewable energy. So we'll come up with a whole bunch of really amazing projects around renewable energy and that problem. And so we're always looking for volunteers to support our kids to work through this program, and that will start in the fall. And that's something we're really trying to build some new teams within the Sioux Falls School District, especially. So,
what about that 5K coming up? We were talking about too how you always are looking for those volunteers to help out during the 5K.
Yes, I can't forget the 5K. So we are doing our spring 5K on May 14th in Sioux Falls. And so we're always looking for volunteers to come and support our girls, to help on the race route, to cheer them on, to help at the finish line, to give them medals and, celebrate their accomplishment that they just did and hand out snacks. And so we have tons of volunteer opportunities at our 5K. We'll also be doing some 5Ks across the state as well. So we'll be doing one in Mitchell, another one in Pierre, and a 5K in the Black Hills as well for all those girls participating in those areas. So.
All right, Allison Sinning. Anything else you want to add just about EmBe and what this organization means to the Sioux Empire?
So, we just have so much going on, and I think if you're interested in getting involved, please visit our website, which is embe.org. So that's EMBE.org. And just kind of go there and check us out. We have, all sorts of things happening throughout the year. So we're always looking for new people to come and join us.
All right, awesome. Once again, Allison Sinning, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
I am joined in the studio from Hope Haven marketing manager Brooke Koima.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about Hope Haven. What is your organization all about?
Hope Haven is a nonprofit organization that provides services and support for people with disabilities. Our services are comprehensive. We have a really big umbrella, so we do a lot of different things that cover a lot of aspects of a person's life. That's vocational, so connecting people with job opportunities, housing, so that's direct care in homes. We have an international ministries program. So we do a lot of different things. Individual choice is really key in all of our services, empowering people to have a productive life of their choosing in their own communities.
What about people that benefit from this program? So when people come in to Hope Haven, what is their number one priority that they're looking for from you guys?
Yeah, so it really varies based on individual need. Our largest service program at the moment is community living. We have over 60 community living residences in Northwest Iowa and Southwest Minnesota. But like I said, it really varies based on that person's needs. And our international ministries program has their distribution center in Sioux Falls. And that program has delivered over 130,000 wheelchairs in 109 countries. So, and they estimate that there are millions of people around the world who still need a wheelchair and can't access one. So that program has a really great need, and a lot of people tap into that and work with us on that program. So
I should have mentioned in the beginning that this is part of the Sioux Empire. So you have a location in Iowa.
Yes.
And then is there also an office located in Sioux Falls?
Yeah. So our headquarters are in Rock Valley, Iowa, but our international ministries is headquartered in Sioux Falls.
You were talking about the wheelchair ministry just now. How many wheelchairs, just so I can figure that out, how many wheelchairs would you say you distribute a year?
It really depends. Anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 wheelchairs, probably.
Can you talk about some experiences that people have had with Hope Haven?
So our organization was founded in 1964, so there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially in the Sioux Empire, have been on a trip with us, or they have volunteered at one of our wheelchair workshops. And that basically, working in a wheelchair workshop entails refurbishing wheelchairs that are donated. So if someone has a wheelchair that they no longer use, they'll donate it to our organization, and our volunteers will refurbish it to like new and then it'll be donated to someone in need. So locally, people help us refurbish those wheelchairs. And then there's also opportunities for people to go on trips with us to places like Vietnam and Guatemala and Romania and be a part of that process where they're personally giving a wheelchair to somebody in need. So those are some really great experiences. There's so many stories, but when you're there in that country and you're seeing the person get that life-changing gift of a wheelchair, it's really incredible.
It's probably really rewarding for you on your end just to see it all unfold.
Definitely. You see the whole process right there.
Things have changed with COVID-19 too, and there really isn't an area that hasn't been affected in some way. Nonprofits and organizations like Hope Haven especially have been hurting during this difficult time.
Yeah, things really were put on pause with that. We had one of our last trips in March, and then things really came to a halt on that. Behind the scenes, we were still collecting wheelchairs, and our volunteers were safely working when they could on refurbishing them. But yeah, we didn't have a lot of trips last year, so we're excited when things start opening back up to get back out there and get those wheelchairs distributed to people in those countries. So
when COVID first became a reality, what were your thoughts personally and as an organization?
Yeah, wow. Difficult time for everyone, especially in our nonprofit and what we do. Locally, we provide direct care, so that's super challenging because the work that we do that way doesn't stop and people can't work from home. And then our wheelchair ministry, just all of those trips being paused, and it's really difficult, but I would say our leadership was really innovative and coming up with solutions, and all of our employees, it was such a team effort of following all those procedures and being a really united front in order to come through it all. But yeah, what a difficult, strange time. Don't remember my exact reaction, but just really not sure how to take that all in because it's so new for everyone.
I know, and we're all still trying to process this year in general too. And you already just said this. How did your team act to the pandemic, and what was the plan going forward?
Our team really acted and collaborated to come up with those safety procedures in terms of all of our different service programs, whether that be local or international, like pausing some of those trips. Mm-hmm. And then on our fundraising aspect of things with our events, figuring out, do we cancel this? Do we reschedule it? So that was an interesting thing to navigate all of those challenges.
When you did eventually, because for the most part, because of COVID, all those events that were planned were canceled or postponed. So what were just some of the events that were canceled last year for Hope Haven?
Well, we have a Rock and Roll for Hope event that's at the Country Club in Sioux Falls every March. That was canceled. And then we had a couple other concert events that take place in the spring that were canceled. Thankfully, we were able to hold some of our summer events that were outside. Mm-hmm. The ones that we postponed, we did have in the summer and the fall, but they just looked different, right? Less people there, mask safety procedures like that. So we were able to pivot with some of those events, but it was just a challenging thing to restructure those events. But so a few of them were canceled, a few of them were restructured and postponed.
If you are just listening, Brooke from Hope Haven, she is joining me in the studio. How crucial are these events and fundraisers for an organization like Hope Haven?
Fundraising events are huge for us. We have about a dozen events throughout the year. So events are a huge part of our fundraising efforts. So, and not only is it a great way for us to raise funds, but it's just a great way to get the community involved and aware of what we do. It connects people with volunteering opportunities. So there's just a number of ways that events are really critical to our fundraising efforts.
Absolutely. And just like events like the auction and other programs you put on at Hope Haven, you need help. So what are volunteer opportunities that are offered at Hope Haven?
Yeah, there's a number of different ways that people can volunteer and get involved with Hope Haven. We have a list of all of those on our website, hopehaven.org/volunteer. And it depends on the location that you're at, but in Sioux Falls specifically, we have opportunities to help at our Sioux Falls headquarters, our international ministries. So you can get involved by helping refurbish those wheelchairs. You can also help us load up for shipments, organize. There's administrative tasks. So there's a lot of information on our website about how you can help out that way and sign up.
Brooke Koima with Hope Haven, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sunday Focus is a public affairs program of Results Radio Town Square Media, Sioux Falls.